I am giving a talk, though, that in this amount of 35 minutes, I have a slide per minute, and I have 50 demos to show you. I want to give you a talk that's the fastest talk I've ever given before. I want to just open up your brain and push in a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to really cover, I'm going to show code, and I'm not going to explain it, because a demo speaks 1,000 words. So these slides are online. Yeah, we good? Okay. These slides are going to be online, so you can go find them. You can take the code. You can find the demos. But it's important to note that that's why I'm going to be moving so fast, is these demos have so much to say for themselves. And so I want you to walk away from this talk feeling full of capabilities so that you feel like, I know what the web can do better than Figma can. Because Figma's getting old. Jeez. Compared to the browser, you got typography features in the browser that are amazing. So anyway, SmashingConf glitching out up there. This is called Symphony of the Web. Does anyone play Castlevania Symphony of the Night? Yeah, excellent. That's a really good Castlevania game. He's right, I'm not a slightly retro nerd. And this talk is a 2024 UI UX in case you missed it. And the style is TikTok style. You see it? Right? We're going rapid. Because I know that you got a low attention span, and just like me. So anyway, here's the link if you want to follow along, and let's begin the talk. Okay, the first thing, this little snippet right here, this is a piece of code I'm going to talk about because you could put it in your web page right now. If you put it in your page, across links, you will crossfade your site. It'll get a crossfade animation. Even people with reduced motion preferences are okay with crossfade. That one line of code, every single click you make is no longer an instant transition. It's a nice one. Then, if you want to add a little bit of flair in there, we had view transitions covered yesterday by Ryan, but this is the multi-page version. Also works with the single-page version. Anyway, you can persist in navigation so that when it crossfades, it doesn't crossfade your nav. Your nav stays there, like you're a single-page application. But all you did was add a couple lines of code. You got to try out view transitions. And also, if you look at these transitions in my slides are full URLs. These are new web pages, but I'm using multi-page view transitions, right? Demos, speak 1,000 words. Range syntax. So this media query syntax, I find it a lot easier to understand because previously we had min-width equals some, or had colon some value, and I was always like, you have to like invert your thoughts to get that out right. You're like, whoa, what is minimum? No. Now you can just write it with an operator. Width is less than 1024. Or you can stick your width value in the middle and say, is it greater than 360 and less than 1024? I find this just to be so much more readable, and people don't know it exists. You can also use character units in there. If you watched Oliver's talk last night, I walked away very inspired. I made a container query very much like this one that said, if the line length is less than 20 characters, meaning it's in a constrained space, reduce the line height. I built it into my paragraphs. I didn't have to teach my paragraphs every instance of that. I taught them to be intelligent with container queries and relative units. There's a lot of really cool units out. I'm also not going to talk about nesting. Nesting is just going to be in pretty much every single one of my slides. And you can see some nesting here and a container query that's nested inside the card. So the card is asking, hey, is my container's inline size somewhere above 20 characters and less than 50? Then do the stuff inside of there. Okay, a lot of these lead into the next one. So let's talk about container queries. You can define a container query with a name. This one's called my first container query. And you can say, at the same time, what type of thing you want to query inside of that container. I like named ones because that means your component can not only just ask its parent or its nearest container what the size is, it can ask a specific parent. So your component can move anywhere in your page from sidebar to middle to the footer, and it can ask each container specifically, which one am I in? I have a presentation for that. It's really, really sweet stuff. So here's one asking it by name, asking it for the width, using that new syntax. And here's a perfect bento demo. So I call it the perfect bento. Let's just open it up. I should have not clicked that in the way I did, but I'll get there. No worries. So I call this a perfect bento because no matter what arrangement of boxes are in it, it always has a good layout. And it's intelligent enough to know landscape and portrait. Landscape and portrait. I can remove boxes and put it into a weird scenario, like 3 items. But I'm using something called quantity queries inside of my container queries to ask it, how many children do you have? Do this layout instead. Promote this one item. It's really, really cool stuff. Container queries, really, really powerful. See, we're going pretty fast. Boom, boom, boom. All right, cascade layers. These are also going to be in pretty much every demo that I open up. You can predefine your layers here. There's a lot of really cool superpowers with layers. And here I'm saying my weakest layer is my design system. My next strongest layer are components. And my even stronger layer are utilities. If you're using Tailwind, you're probably similar to something like that, or Sass. And in here, I'm importing different things into a layer. So that way I can import third-party things or my own files right into a layer and kind of like get rid of that managed index.css file where you're like, hey, don't touch the index file because if you load that just one line up, it's going to break all my stuff. And that sucks. This solves the problem. It also allows you to create layers on the fly, so a component can define its own layers. And look, this one's putting itself into the component's nav primary layer and defining a bunch of cool positions. And you also need to know that if it's not in a layer, it's stronger than things in a layer. So there's like a couple of really cool use cases. It gets rid of some of the cascade battles for you so that you can trap specificity inside of a layer, and you can import something like Bootstrap or Tailwind into a layer and give it a specificity so that you don't have to battle it. It's really cool stuff. So if you've ever felt yourself kind of battling selectors, you can use cascade layers to trap them, and any layer that comes after it is always going to beat that one without even having to battle the specificity. And you'll see it in my demos because my demos are going to do this. I want you to focus on the demo code. The rest of it's support. So I don't have to add a whole bunch of line breaks so that you know where to look. It's clearly articulated in the actual demo. All right, so here's one of our cool first features that I just don't think enough people know. This one's called paint order. And all it takes is one demo to kind of see what this means. The top example is using the default paint order. So I'm adding a stroke to some text. But look at the bottom one. That's what I want. All I did was flip the paint order. I said draw the strokes first and then fill it. The top one is drawing the fill and then the strokes. And it looks dumb. This one looks rad. One line of code. Demo complete. Let's talk about field sizing. So this is another one. We used to have JavaScript that kind of made it so that if you're typing to a field, that it would grow to the size inside of it. And this one applies to text area, select, and input. And let's open up a demo just so we can kind of see what we're doing there. And did I go a slide? I did. I went a slide. Someone have to know that if I switch over, I'm triggering slides. Okay. So we've got CSS field sizing in here. Here's one that doesn't grow, right? We've seen this before. Yeah, that's really annoying. This is the one that bugs me the most. A select element is always the width of its longest element. So even though I select this option, it's just annoyingly long, and there's like no way to change that. You've got things in here like a text input that doesn't grow, an email input, number inputs that are just not very aware of what's inside of them. And look at these ones. They grow with one line of CSS. And now I can shrink to fit the item that's inside of it. This one grows. And also notice that it's the width by default of the placeholder. It shrink wraps to your placeholder. Yeah, it's so nice. Same thing with the email and number does the same thing. So cool stuff. Let's go back to some of the examples here. One of the things when you do this is you're going to have to add some defensive styles. And you're going to say, hey, I never want you to go below this, and I don't want you to go above this size. So in this particular case for that text area, I'm saying your min height is 3 line height units. Did you know there's a line height unit? It's awesome, and it really allows for all sorts of cool things. And then I'm saying the max block size, never let this text area go bigger than the smaller side of the viewport height, which means they can type in it, and at a certain point, it constrains and becomes scrollable. Then I'm saying the inline size, I've got some variables for my preferred content sizes. And then again, for your select element, you're going to want to have a min width on that in case they choose a really short item and you don't want it to go too small. So field sizing kind of brings in this concept of defensive styles. Did I open this demo? I don't think so. Oh yeah, this one's just prettier, right? Oh, yeah, that looks nice. That's great. Oh, it's good stuff. Cool. Okay, burn on. Color scheme. So this one allows you to tap into the browser's light or dark mode. Let's say you're starting a new website and you want to have light or dark mode and you're just doing some typography. Add this one line of code to your style sheet and now the user's preference changes to the user agent and you get dark mode for free. Free dark mode. It also comes with other kind of cool powers, which we'll cover, but let's get into customizing it. So when you use the color scheme, you also get access to this function called light dark. The first value is the light color, the second color is the dark color. I can have a light dark custom theme in 2 lines of code now. I love it. The only requirement is that light dark only works with colors. And so you can also do this, though. You can make components that are contextually adopting either the light or dark styles inside of there. This also comes with some cool keywords that you can use, like canvas and canvas text. These are system keywords that represent the current state of that. So here's me nesting multiple things. Look, I've got a dark class, a light class, color scheme, and I can nest them perfectly and do anything that I want and just switch one little value. That light dark function is kind of taking care of all that. And we got one more demo here. This one goes a little bit crazier, and it uses style queries. Anyone using or heard of style queries in the house? Yeah, nice. Y'all know what's up. So here I'm querying the value of color scheme, which I'm using as the color scheme value. So I have a custom property. That way I can query the value of the custom property. And the big difference between the color scheme light dark function, light dark again only works with color. If you use a style query to query the value of it, you can style anything. You can change the layout in dark mode. You can change the way that the frosted glass looks. You have all these different opportunities with style queries. Be on the lookout for that one coming in the future. Style queries are not available everywhere, but color scheme is. Oh yeah, notice down here, there's always going to be a little support widget for you to see what's going on. So we've been talking about the light dark function. Let's kind of get into it a little bit more. There's the basic syntax, light and dark, but you can use it anywhere a color is accepted, like on a border. So you can have an adaptive border to light and dark scenarios in one little quick little line of code. And then this is one of my favorite things. You can create semantic tokens using light dark. This used to be a lot of work to make a light and a dark theme, and now it is that short. So good. All right, accent color, another one-liner. How many one-liners are going to be in this talk that are powerful? Jeez. Well, this one is accent color, and this allows you to quickly tint the default built-in elements. Again, it's like one of those things. You're like, just show me a demo. The words, they don't make as much sense as this. Oh, now it's red. Now they're blue. And notice also that the browser intelligently chose a proper contrast checkmark and focus state. If I choose a different hue, it's smart enough. Let's see if I can find one. Look at that. It flipped. I don't have to do that. It's always accessible, and I tint it to be my brand. One line of code. Awesome. And so, yeah, there's a, oh, yeah, let's look at this demo. Make a black slider with a mixed blend mode of difference. Look at this. That's just kind of fun and trippy to see. And I'm using easing. I'm using a linear easing function to give it a spring. So if we look at the code here, oh, and here's app property, which I think is our next topic we're going to talk about. Here's my color, accent color is canvas text. So if I open up DevTools and I change to dark mode, it flips. Again, this is because I said color scheme is light and dark capable, and then I'm using those system colors, which adapt contextually to the value of the color scheme. And when you flip to dark mode, it flips the color scheme. And again, I've got myself a very cool looking little nifty demo that is adaptive. I love this stuff. It's so cool. Is there another one here? No, that was it. Okay, that was accent color. And that leads us into app property. App property is a way for you to type your custom properties. You can also make them inherit false, which is kind of interesting. So in this case, you see I called it unbreakable color. Unbreak my heart. Any Tony Braxton fans? Anyway, whatever. Okay, I'm as bad as you, bro. But what's cool about here is you can make a color. So like if you've got a design system, let's say someone wants to customize the brand of the design system, and they accidentally type shite instead of white. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry, shite's not a color. And the browser, if you didn't have one of these, would just be like, I tried to make the color shite and it didn't work. And so your whole color system breaks. Any colors you had that depended on that one just trickle down and are defeated. But if you type it, the browser will say, hey, you tried to put something into the color value that is not a color. I don't allow that. I will just go back to the known color. You can make unbreakable design systems. You can also interpolate these things, which means you can animate them over time, which is really cool. So this one is an interpolatable percentage. I'm setting up something where I'm going to animate from 0% to 100%, and you can use that value anywhere percentages are available. And here's how you transition it. You transition a custom property. Look at the thing I'm putting in there. That's the custom property I just made, and I can specify how it bounces. That's how I got the bounce on that circle, was I told it to be a springy animation on a gradient size. And so it sprung between the two values. And when I hover, you change the value, you automatically get a transition, and you can keyframe animate these things. Let's see some demos, because that's how, hey, I gotta shrink this so I can click my link. Here we go. Okay, real quick, go to noisy.net. Oh, here, I'll just open it up. Anyway, we can all jam together, and what this sort of thing does, let's allow this time, it takes my audio into this, it splits it up into a low pass and a high pass, and it passes those values into a gradient, and the gradient is now animated using app property, just like I showed you with the slider, but I'm now powering it with my voice. And one of the cool things is if you did join and we were all doing it together, all of our colors continue to combine, mixing and inverting each other into this crazy chaos, and that's why I call it noisy. You see the noise. You actually can't hear anything on this site, but you and your friends can see the noise that you're experiencing together. Oh, look, there's only one person in the room. That would have changed if we were in a real-time scenario. That's noisy. Let's also look at another app property example here. This one is another gradient example. When I hold Option, I can animate the gradient to a certain size and create a spotlight effect. and blur the external. So I'm animating a mask using app property, using a key to transition the value. And now I have this, look, see, it's a transition. I can pump it in and out. It's super sweet. Oh, good stuff. Registered custom properties. I love it. Oh, scroll-driven animation. I got some cool demos in here. Okay, so we got teased about this yesterday by Ryan. There's two different types that are important to know. You have scroll-linked animations, and you have view-linked animations. A scroll-linked animation goes from the top of this runway to the bottom of the runway, and you can clamp it and do other sort of things. The view one is as soon as your element pokes its first little pixel's head into the viewport, and it goes, hello. That's the start of the animation. And then when it poops its last one out, that's the end of the animation. So let's look at some cool scroll animations first. Oh, these are always so cool to show on screen. Okay, so this one is going to use app property, which is an angle, and all I'm going to do is make the scroll go from 0 degrees to 360 degrees, essentially going through the entire hue rotation of like HSL. In this case, it's LCH. And as I scroll, it changes the hue, and I create a cool effect. Super simple. Look, here's the keyframes. Animating hue to 360. Okay, that one's kind of cool. That's not as cool as the next one, though. Let's get this one up here. Okay, so this one is a scroll-driven animation of CSS features. And these are off the main thread. So Ryan was talking about off the main thread. That's why I can just whip this forward and backward because it is all, the browser's like, this is butter. I got no problem with this. It's all off the main thread. I got it in the GPU. It's just right here, bro. I'm just going to go in and out with it. And it's just, the way that this works too is this is a grid of like rows and columns, and each of these items is in a different place, and then they all get powered by this transform over here called zoom in. And I start at opacity 0, I give it some blur, I translate Z from way far away, and I bring you to way close up. In fact, it goes past the viewport that I've created here, and you get this really sick animation. Cool, so those are scroll-linked animations. Let's look at some view-linked animations. Animate as an element intersects with the viewport. So here, I've got just this little bit of line of code here. I've got some keyframes, which we'll see in a second, but this says, hey, if the user's cool with motion and the browser supports this, then go ahead and create an animation, use the slide-in keyframes. Don't worry about time. Time is irrelevant in this scenario because we're going to power the timeline by its intersection with the viewport, and I want you to start the animation as soon as the element starts in the viewport and finish by the time it's at 50%. Each element gets its own view intersection. It's unique to each element. This isn't something that you can get very easily with other scenarios, and this is it. Look at that. A few lines of code for one of the coolest looking little experiences ever. I love it. So anyway, we got more. These just keep on going, these demos. These are so sweet. Okay, so you ever done scrolly telling? These ones are actually watching something else's view. You can share your intersection with something else. And that's how that works. It's so sick. So they're aware of the other one. And I'm just doing some 3D rotations, look a little bit of perspective, some rotations, blah, blah, blah. You've seen that stuff before. Okay, I think we're on this one. iOS users, you know your app switcher? I've got that. Scroll-driven animation. And using scroll snap. Scroll snap, I've done talks on scroll snap too many times to bring it to the stage. It's so cool on its own. But this one is also responsive, which I think is just really unique. The Apple one is not responsive. Right? Look at this. That is cool stuff. I got one more. Oh, where's my demo? Oh no, I need to scroll it into view. This one is powering a variable font's morph axis from 0 to 60 to power the morph of this font on scroll. Keep CSS weird, y'all. Isn't that cool? It's just a few lines. It's like I love treating CSS like a little scalpel. I'm just like, what's the smallest incision I can make to get a really big bang? I love that stuff. Okay, scroll-driven animations, let's burn on. The linear easing function, we've seen this lots of times. That's what's creating a lot of the springy vibes. No one's expecting you to write that junk. I'm going to give you some tools because that looks like gibberish to me too. But it's important to know you can just put it in a custom prop and then use it. Now I have a transition on the transform properties that are going to be springy. There's even a library someone made that their name's ARGYLE. I've never heard of them before, but it's called Open Props, and it gives you a bunch of free easings, and some of them are springs and bounces and squishes. And so if you want to make a spring, you can just import only the easings from these free variables and use it. Here, there's 5 different flavors of springs in that library, and I'll use it a lot. So here's a good example. You hover, you get a little bounce. It's subtle. I'm not doing a mega spring that's like, boing. I don't want that. I want just a little bit of bounce. And then since it's a transition, I can interact with it. It's just so satisfying. I can use the space bar. Good stuff. What else we got? Like I forgot, these are all gifts for me. Oh yeah, okay, so here's the linear easing generator. Me and Jake Archibald built this. He did all the tech work, I did the design. The idea here is you can drop in an SVG curve or create a function, a JavaScript function that actually does like physics, and it'll translate it into a curve and give you the CSS on the other side. There's all sorts of ways you can customize it to make these variables smaller. Go have fun. One thing to note about linear is look at the duration, it's really long. When you're doing a spring animation, you're not going to be doing your 0.2 seconds, your 250 milliseconds animations. You're going to be doing something else. And here's my library that has a bunch of springs. So here's all the springs. There are 5 different strengths. So the first one is kind of weak, and the 5th one is quite strong. The bounces are fun because if you look at bounce 3 and bounce 4 and bounce 5, they bounce that many times. So you can just be like, how many times do you want it to bounce at its destination? 3 times? 2 times? Just pick the variable. Cool, moving on. Reduce transparency. Okay, so this is one of those ones where accessibility is not something that makes things boring. You can make something interesting, and it's a challenge, and there's cool things to do. Like you can make adaptive glass. So the glass that is normally maybe very translucent, but if someone wants preferred reduced transparency, you can reduce it and make it more opaque. And I'm going to show you some cool demos that'll make this an inspiring concept. These are fun design challenges. So some people might have said, well, if I've got this caption overlay, I'll just change the transparency. I'm like, no, you can just completely get rid of any transparency, and look at it, it almost looks better. So someone who prefers reduced transparency gets no transparency and a new elegant layout. These are not challenges, these are opportunities for you. Let's also look at this one. Yes, adaptive frosted glass. So we've got this down here. We open up DevTools, switch to dark mode. And now we have a dark mode frosted glass. Very easy. I could use the light dark function and just kind of one-line this. And this is all coming together. Oh, hi DevTools. Thanks for sticking with me. Okay, this one is always just this weird, delightful crowd pleaser. You can put an HR and a select. It looks like this. Look at, I got little horizontal rules in my select. Whee! That's I don't know, it's just delightful to see the difference here. You're like, oh, that's it. So there you go. That one was a 15-second slide. Boom, the search element. Not enough people know about this. This is a pretty new element. If you're doing search on your site, use this element. There's all sorts of cool things that you can do with it, and I want to show you this demo as another sneaky little tip. Raise your hand if you know the data list element. Ooh, I'm impressed. Thank you so much. The list is pointing to that, so that way when I click in here, you get a list of movies, and it can help people pre-fill a value. And it also, since I used input type search, I get that little close button. So the search element, know about it. This one is user invalid and user valid. This one you definitely have to see, but I like describing valid and invalid as eager to tell the user you were right or wrong. And that means you load a form and it's covered in red. And they're like, you haven't even touched it, but you're wrong. You're like, rude. Why are you doing that to me? And user valid and user invalid are lazy. They wait for you to interact with it, and then after you focus out, it will highlight red or green. And this makes for a much better form experience. So a little bit of a demo always helps. So it's currently invalid because those are eager. It's currently valid. Again, eager. I tab out. It's lazy. And this is just nice. Let's look at a nicer looking demo, even though Bramus did that last demo. It's a very good demo. Here's one. Look at invalid is eager to tell you you're wrong. I'm like, that's rude. I haven't done anything yet. Here. Now, it's good. Or I can make a mistake. Oh, there you go, make a mistake, right? It's kind of like Dirty. If you know Dirty from Angular or these other frameworks, you basically have it built into the browser. And you have valid and invalid opportunities there. And there's the selector, user valid, user invalid, and here's the browser support. It's cool. If you use has, you can also do some cool things like make the label underlined in red. Isn't that cute? And it's lazy again, so the user knows where to go. And if you've tied up your labels right, you can click the label, sends you to the relevant input for you to complete the task and pacify the red squiggly. Because we all love to pacify red squigglies, don't we? No, TypeScript, too many red squigglies. I now hate them. Is this one valid? Yeah, I think it just goes green. Yes, look, I can add a check mark if it's valid, right? Cool stuff. Here's my selector with some nesting. Input, if the label has a sibling after it that is user valid, then here's a contextual after element to put on the label. That's just magic. Oh, it's magic. You know, what time is it? It's too early to be singing songs to y'all. All right, let's burn forward. The exclusive accordion. So if you've got the summary details element, if you put two of them on top of each other, they don't really know about each other. So like you close one, you close the other one, and you're kind of in this juggle. But now if you put a name on it, just like a radio group, you can link them together, and they will close previous ones and open up the new one. So here we go. Open up the new one, closes the old one. Look at that. Piece of cake, HTML only accordion. And I didn't do it in this demo, but there are ways to animate this accordion now. That's very cool. So a couple lines of CSS, classic CSS, just a couple more lines, just a couple more lines. That's the exclusive accordion. And look at the support, it's getting there. Math, there's so much math that you can do in CSS now, and there's some really cool things hopefully I can get to. But you basically have sine, cosine, tan, pow, atan, asine, acosine. You have all these things, and you're like, what can I do with that? I'm like, let me show you. Here's a typography scale using pow. So all I do is increment, and I use pow and a clamp, and I have a responsive type ramp with a maximum. Just a couple lines of code. We can also use this for layouts. I can create a radial layout. Is this the radial layout demo? Yeah, look at this. It's a radio group put into a circle. And I was like, that's just funny, because a radio group always goes back to the beginning by itself, and you just, whatever. That was cool. What's this one? I forgot how many of these I have. Oh, you can create a color palette. And this color palette uses cosine, which is a curve like this. You kind of cut that curve in half and only use half of it. And that means you can put lightness at a high lightness at the top and a low lightness in the bottom with a good amount of chroma in the middle. So you use math to create these different scales. And then you can put little sliders on there and bounce these things around. Math-based color palettes. What else we got in here? Oh yeah, I totally took a JavaScript function in physics and then wrote it in CSS. There it is. Look at that. It's totally readable, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, but that thing's bouncing with like real physics. And real physics is a lot of math. There's like micropixels and stuff going on. But I'm able to put entire JavaScript logic into CSS now, and I've made it so you can tweak it. So if you open up this demo, you can change the values of the physics and get a different result. It's pretty sweet. Oh man, how many of these are in here? Oh, I know what's next. A sine wave. Just a couple lines of code. And shout out to Niels from 9 Elements. Took the sine wave, put a little Flappy Bird on there. Isn't it cute? And he got little sliders down here. What a cool demo. So math is actually quite capable to help you do all sorts of stuff. Get ready for math. And there's more functions coming. There's random item. These ones aren't out yet. These are just like teasers for you. Sibling count, sibling index, progress, media progress, container progress, mix, calc, mix, crossfade, transform, mix, first valid, toggle, calc, size, next slide. A TikTok, right? Text wrap. This one's awesome. Text wrap has 2 new properties, balance and pretty. This is another one you just got to see it. I could sit here and talk about it forever, or I could do something like this and say, not balanced. So we have balanced up here. Look, I've got an orphan. It's not balanced. And down here, not pretty. Pretty, but now, pretty and balanced. Balanced turns it into a block. It will automatically add line breaks for you based on the language, based on the writing mode, based on the directions, everything contextual, perfectly line broken. And pretty makes sure that you don't have any orphans. So if I go back over here, we had orphan, orphan. Over here, no orphan, no orphan. It makes sure, it does the minimal amount of things to make sure that you never have a dangling word. Little dangler. No one likes danglers, do they? Hey, go back. I guess I'll just swipe. Okay, I think I got another text wrap demo in here. Oh yeah, balanced headlines. This one's animated, so you can see kind of what it's doing over time. Unbalanced on top, balanced on the bottom. And you can change the language. Let's go to Arabic. Look at that. That is the power of the web. Come on, Figma, where are you at? Figma, you got nothing on this stuff. Seriously. There's one more. Yeah, just beautiful headlines, right? Usually you'd get like the designers like, I want my line breaks right here and right here. And you're like, in what language, fool? Come on, at what browser size? What are you talking about? Everything's not going to be that perfect thing. And so what this lets you do is just codify it. And look, you don't ever get a bottom line that is shorter than the top one. But you do with balanced text. The algorithm is very good and very vetted, and I love it. Anyway, so that's text wrap balance. And look at the support down here. You can use that today. Animation composition. This is how keyframes blend. This is like another one just people don't know. So I've got a keyframe animation here that's like pulsing this, but when I hover, I'm going to add another set of keyframes. And if you know anything about keyframes, they're always really jumpy. They go from one to the next one. So if I didn't have animation composition add, then when I hovered, I wouldn't get this effect, which shakes it while it pulses. That's just the little things in life sometimes are really nice. Color mix. So this one allows you to mix colors, and you can choose the color space. Again, you just got to kind of see it. I think that's a great demo. I'm going to skip it. Let's go to this one. Right, a theming system all based on a brand color. All right, shout out a color. That's only 5 numbers, but it's cool. I'll fix it for you. Oh, what color is it? Is that going to be better than what we got? Oh, yeah, look, it is. Okay. Yeah, look, okay, yeah, hey, no, that's all right. We got a brown one. Okay, it's cool. Well done. Yep, we'll leave. We got another one that will help us see this as well. So this one's a tool that lets you see the color mix and writes it for you. So again, generators. I like little tools that help you, and it's really bizarre what the color space can do to change the result that you get. So anyway, this one's at colormix.style. You can just go try color mixing right in the browser. The syntax looks like this. You call color mix. You pass the color space you want. You can pass 2 colors, and it will mix them equally together. You can also add transparency to something. You say, here's the color. I want transparent to be 80% dominant. So you're only going to have 20% opacity left over. You can also nest them. So like I've got a color mix and a color mix. CSS is just very flexible that way. And look at the sport. The sport's really good. Color spaces. This one I would go into more, but I have a demo here in this space with your own eyes. This is if you use hex or RGB or HSL. You get this amount of colors. If you use display P3 or OKLCH, you can be this vibrant. The difference is, I like to think about it like VHS versus Blu-ray. If you're using hex colors, your site will always look like a VHS. Everyone's got pretty much new computers in their phone that have really powerful color displays. And when you use a hex color, you're tapping into 60% of its capability. If you use a new color space, you can reach to the most vibrant colors you get. Your site looks like a Blu-ray. Everybody else looks like a VHS. Which one do you want to be? Anyway, there's all sorts of cool demos in here, but color spaces get really heavy really quick. Just know that there's like really rad neons. There's better gradients. This one's clutch. In fact, that's the one tool I'm going to open up. I think, does it have my tool in here? Is this one? I made this tool. It's called gradient.style. This allows you to create a gradient in CSS. You can kind of switch from radial to conic. And it's kind of cool because it visualizes a lot of the way that the gradients work. But it also allows you to change the color space. So let's go to sRGB. You're like, oh, is that not displaying? Oh, it just took a second. Okay. Also, look at the difference on the screens. See what I mean? Which site are you going to be? The washed out one or the one that's really vibrant and rad? Also, a lot of gradients today will go through the dead zone in the middle, and if you change the color space, my hot tip is just use OKLab most of the time, or OKLCH. It will get rid of that dead space, and you'll have a much smoother, more vibrant gradient. From 2 vibrant colors, you won't go dead in the middle. It's called the dead zone, and no one wants to be in the dead zone. Okay, relative color. This is kind of like color mix. You get all sorts of opportunities to calculate on color. And you can change the lightness. You can change the darkness. So you can lighten to a specific amount. You can lighten by an amount. You can change the alpha much easier. So look, I'm making HSL from blue. I just repurpose HSL right back in there and change the opacity to 50%. And since you have calc, you can do things like complementary colors. There's cool demos in here. You should check them out. I'm going to skip them. Custom scroll bar colors. And the size of them. Look how thin this one is, and look at how it's hot pink. And it matches my brand's background color. So I have a pink scroller on this particular demo, and its width is thin. These are 2 new features that I don't see people using enough. Starting style is a way for you to specify how something should enter a stage. I came in from over there. Starting style is like telling an element, before you've even showed up in the page, you should start scaled out and opacity 0. And then as soon as you get added to the page, you can transition to your natural resting state. So you see how all those elements just animated in? It's because I gave them a starting style that makes them scale up and then fade down. If I add a box, all I've done to these is added a starting style. And the starting style says start scaled up. And when I add a new element, it animates to its new location. So it's like specifying the off stage, how should you enter the stage, and then you can specify how do you exit the stage with something like keyframes or transitions. All sorts of cool. Yeah, look, present the thing. And you can nest it. So here's the transition, opacity, scale, nest the add starting style, and that's exactly what we saw. And that makes every single element animate itself into your page when you put it in. just a couple lines of CSS. The dialog element, hopefully you know what the dialog element is. I've highlighted that it's a synchronous blocking UI element, and I think that's really critical. I'm actually going to skip some of these demos. I'm also going to go into popover, which is asynchronous. So meaning that this one is non-blocking, and the dialog is blocking. Dialogs are for you saying, hey, you're about to delete something, and you need to stop everything you're doing and answer this question, because it's really important. And popovers are like, nah, it's kind of chill. You know, like you can close me with the escape button and stuff like that. So here's a good example of some popovers. I hover over me and my coworkers' names, and I've made a popover. Popovers and dialogues show up in the top layer, which is always going to be on top of everything in your page. And these popovers can live next to the component, and when you show them, they get projected into the top layer automatically for you. It's really, really powerful stuff. And these are all positioned using anchor, and I'm pretty sure anchor is the next slide that we got. Anchor positioning. This is a really fun feature for intelligent and convenient element positioning. You give something an element name or an anchor name. This is the thing you want to float something next to. So it's called the anchor, and the positioned element is the thing that you're going to make position fixed, and you just say block end, and that puts it under the element that's named over easy. And you've also got things with popovers. This one's clutch here. Make sure if you're using popover and anchoring that you're setting inset auto. Let's see what kind of demos I got in here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You need a tool tip on a slider? Look at anchor. Anchor also knows the width of the element and perfectly keeps it centered on the top. I'm doing no calc. There's no calc in here at all. All I'm saying is position area block start for the top one. That puts it on top. And the one on the right, I put it at inline end. Look at that. So the positioned element can change size, and the thing that it's anchored to can move around, and the browser always perfectly centers it with this stuff. A couple lines of CSS. It's amazing. Add scope was covered a little bit by Ryan yesterday, so I'm not going to go into it much. But the one thing to note is that scope is about selector scoping, not style scoping. Style scoping is something you get with Shadow DOM. Selector scoping is what scope does. So that's, again, it's like limiting its global reach, and you're secluding it to a particular space. And then Ryan also showed the proximity scope, where if you nest it next to an element, it stays closer to the element, and it has more power. There's lots of cool features there. This one is text box trim. You can switch from double letting, which is the default of the web for 25 years, into fit line heights. I love this one. I got to open up these demos. This one, as you saw, the support is not very good, but look, here's super rad design. I can go change this. And everything stays perfectly right at the top of the R and right underneath the D, because I've taken off the padding that's on top and bottom of them. So this one isn't, I think this one's cool, but also it's not as descriptive as some of the other ones, because I know you've had these problems right here. Have you ever tried to put an image with an element in there and see that junk? This junk here, because you have half letting on top and bottom of the word. And look, which means I don't get perfect alignment with my elements. But look down here, I have perfect alignment. I've used text box trim to trim off the top and the bottom, and look at how perfectly it sits with my thing. Perfect alignment, and it gets better. Also, we thought CSS centering was harder, but with text box trim, it's about to get easier / a little bit different. So here's an unpadded element that just has text in it, and then the one next to it has text box trim, and look, it's all shrink wrapped perfectly underneath the P and right there at the top of the F. And then you ever had padding where you're like, I'm going to put padding on this button, just 10 pixels, and then it's not in the center. You've got more padding on the top than you do on the inline side, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And then you have to go make your inline padding a little bit bigger than the one on top, and then you're just balancing this. Oh, it's ugly. But now you can just add padding and add text box trim, and it's perfectly fit all around the sides. Your button can literally be in the center. You won't have designers showing up and be like, I know you used Flexbox and you said it's centered, but if I get my red lines out, it's actually 8 pixels on the top and 9 pixels on the bottom. And I'm like, ugh. You do this, that problem goes away. You make it so that the actual element that it's centering is fit to itself. It's really, really cool stuff. That's text box trim. So that one, get excited for that one. You can try that in Canary and Safari Tech Preview. Typography nerds, so good. And that's it. That was the Symphony of the Web.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Oh, well done.
Thanks.
So you'll join me?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm being told.
Did you feel it?
Yeah, I felt it. Oh, I felt it. I think we're told that we have -3 minutes, but we still have time for Q&A. I think that's
Perfect.
okay. There was one question that came up very quickly.
Only one? Oh, okay.
Well, one that came very quickly, one from Sasha. Until 40 minutes ago, I thought I knew CSS. So how would you recommend somebody to stay up to date on those things? It seems like to many people, and me include myself, of course, like a lot of things, oh wow, right, I remember seeing somewhere that thing, and then you don't even think about kind of combining those, and then once you see that, how you can combine them, like demos that you showed, like, oh, wow, that is different. So I guess the question is more kind of broader. Where and how do you stay up to date on this? Because I remember that you actually, every now and again, you have this post around state of things, and that's what happened in 23
Yeah.
and so on.
So yeah, so last year, the Chrome team, we made something we call CSS Wrapped. We copied Spotify. We're like, people love these like wrapped posts. We should do one for CSS. So we've done it 2 years in a row. I'm currently designing in the browser the new one. I have a really cool prototype if you want to get a sneak peek. It's of course full of scroll-driven animations. So that's coming out towards the end of this year. The Chrome team will publish something that kind of encapsulates this year's stuff. But if you're looking to learn more than that, there's a couple things. I have 2 podcasts I'm in. If you're into podcasts, one is called The CSS Podcast, and the other one is called Bad at CSS Podcast, where we talk to other people who are also bad. I feel like the more I learn I don't know, and that makes me bad at. Anyway, it's fun. So, and then there's also you can follow my RSS feed. I do a lot of tweeting and I do a lot of blogging, and then we're also working on getting CSS 4 and 5, and those would produce lists that you can just go look at what's in CSS 4, and then you're like, well, then what's in CSS 5? What's in CSS 6, bro?
Oh, wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
There is one question, though, that was not showing up on slides and not even on the next steps. It's kind of a very short question. Styling select menus.
Oh, wait, silent?
Styling select menus.
Okay, so I didn't put that in the slides because it's quite modern, but we do have, it's called customizable select, and it's being hacked on by Safari and Chrome right now very passionately. It's 5 years into the work right now. 5 years into making customizable select, and it won't even feature multi-select. But the good news is, I know it's kind of
but
BS.
please, it might be also useful to explain why it takes quite a while.
They don't want to break any select elements. And they also don't want to make it so that the HTML parser is doing anything too special for these new versions. And so you can take a select element as it is today, and then with this new thing called, okay, you've ever used appearance none on an input? Where you're just like, don't do any of that crap, browser. I want to go rogue. There's a new one called appearance base. Appearance base is somewhere between auto and none, where you're going to get a very minimal set of styling, but appearance base will also optimize you into a code path that allows you to customize the button that gets shown, the arrows and the check marks that get put next to options. You have a new element called selected option, which will take the HTML of the choice and put it into there. You can style it, you can use has, you can animate the thing, open and close. I have some really cool demos. Una has some cool demos. It's a very exciting spec, but it's been massive in the undertaking. The amount of new things that are coming out in it are crazy, but it's quite exciting.
Can imagine. DevBat is wondering, do you know of any CSS-only option for truncating nested HTML elements? For example, a bunch of LIs inside of a fixed-size UL.
The good news is, so WebKit line clamp has been what we've had to deal with for 15 years or so. Chrome inherited it from Safari. There's a new one, and it's about to come out in Chrome and Safari. It's just called line clamp, and it accepts very simple 2 different types of values. If you say line clamp 3, it will line clamp as soon as it goes to 3 lines. And if you want a line clamp at a height, you pass a height in there, which again, the line height unit is good. You can pass pixels. So you can say line clamp at 200 pixels, and at 200 pixels, you get the ...
Excellent.
Boom, it's coming.
That's fantastic. I think that also, I don't know if, like what it's like for people sitting here in this room, but it feels like many products are just really so kind of heavily pushed back by legacy, by very old versions of Tailwind and whatnot. And even moving away from there to like a newer version is a trouble. But then when you get all this fancy thing that you can do, you feel like, okay, we are there, and we want to be here, right? So what would this transition look like? Is it like going component by component? Is it rewriting layout first? And like, what do you think would be the most optimal, I guess, way to transition from, let's say, a legacy CSS with all the prefixes and whatnot to something that's like this?
There's a couple of cool tricks. One of them is you can use cascade layers. You can take all of your current styles and stick them in a cascade layer and then begin writing your new redesign. And that way you can kind of always win over top of the old one. You can easily do that. You can also take all of the current legacy styles and put them in a layer, and then whenever you want to turn it off, you can call it Slayer, @Slayer, which will make all the CSS in it disappear, and then you can test what it's like to have your new version in there. So if you're doing a complete rewrite, you can use @layer to help you. Media queries can often be changed to container queries now for almost no cost. You just change it to @container, and then you can go naming your containers, and you can start doing more specific things, because a lot of times your components want to move, and they don't care about the viewport. They care about the column that they're in, the grid row that they're in, the flexbox container they're in. So those are good ways to start adapting things. Colors are an easy one. We need designers, though, to get on board with progressive enhancement. A lot of designers are still too much of a control freak. You have to give up some control on the web, and you have to lean into the chaos, and you have to sort of like allow things to progressively get better. The scroll animations, don't force everyone into scroll animations. It's okay if they don't get it. The site is still fine. Same thing with the HDR colors. You can make your HDR colors progressively enhanced only for browsers and displays that support it. So that way it's sRGB if they're on a VHS, television or whatever. But if they're using one of their new MacBooks or a new Windows machine that has HDR color, then boom, that site is going to look crispy, delightful, gorgeous. So there's like ways to be respectful and layer these things in that's not in a destructive manner, and it's quite minimal, but it does take knowledge, and you usually have to tell your managers what's up, because the manager's like, hey, I went to the site, and it looks like a VHS, and you're like, quit using an old monitor, man. If you get on a new monitor, you get to see the new hotness, and so you have to kind of like train people around you to get on board with these progressive enhancements.
Excellent. There's a question from Mateus. You showed a lot of fancy CSS stuff, but where, and this is like where it's getting provoking, where is the CSS AI stuff? I just learned by watching a YouTube video that without AI you are outdated.
No, for whatever reason, AI, of all the programming languages that it knows how to do, well, actually, I have a good reason. It's the worst at CSS. It's terrible, and it's because it's very subjective. Now, the AI is good at following patterns and following known code paths and things that it can find that repeat themselves, but styles don't do that. Every site is so unique, so different, it can't establish the patterns. It also doesn't understand people. You understand people, and you understand your product, so all it can do is copycat. You bring in the value in the niche edge cases, you do the tiny details, and you finesse the corners. AI is not doing that yet. I have been training a Google AI bot for about 8 months to try to make it good. And it's hilarious. My pre-prompt is like this long. I'm like, never do this, never do that. And then I'm like, hey, make me this thing. And it did it. I'm like, why? Why do I even prompt you? So I feel a lot of job security right now, because I feel like if you're in back end or a lot of other ones, like AI is definitely coming for your job. But CSS, it sucks at CSS. Send me one. If you think one is good at CSS, I'm going to try it. I'm trying Cursor right now. It's still not that good.
Okay, okay. One question that came up also, any fancy things for debugging CSS and DevTools?
Can I show my screen?
Sure. We just need to swap.
I'm so glad you asked. Okay, I just opened up the DevTools. I went to the animations panel. If you don't know that one, you can hit Command-Shift-P and type animations. Show animations. I'm going to set them to 10%. I'm going to go to the next page. Remember, I'm going across web pages in slow-mo. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to scrub it. Oh. Oh.
Keep going, keep going.
Oh, wait, you want to see it more times? Oh, yeah, ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah. And then you go back to 100% and hit play, and it completes the...
And if you kind of debug, maybe, okay.
Well, yeah, you want me to debug?
Yeah, if you want to show a few more, that's great.
I mean, the grid dev tools are cool. You got these. A lot of people don't know that you can go to the layout thing and change the way that things look. You can change the colors. So if I like put this main one on here, I can change the color to hot pink. It makes a cooler picture, you know? Helps you if your overlay is clashing with your current thing, you can change it there. What other? I don't know. Send me messages on Twitter. I'll help you. Seriously.
Sounds wonderful. So then come back here.
Yeah.
We have 44 seconds left. So, I mean, your level of excitement is already there.
Yeah.
I would say, right?
Sorry.
Is there something that's coming up where you think like, okay, this is incredible. Like, what are you most excited about that's upcoming?
That's upcoming. A couple things. So I showed text box trim. The reason that one made it in is because it's so incredibly exciting to me. Seriously, the way that you can center and align things, and then you combine that with subgrid and the line height unit. So you're familiar with baseline alignment. We used to do it all the time in InDesign. You can do that on the web now logically, meaning it can manage right to left, left to right, vertical right to left. So you can have baseline alignment with subgrid and line height units and text box trim and get these perfectly aligned layouts across any language in the entire world. It's a typographer's dream. So that's really exciting. We also just launched Scroll Snap events in Google Chrome, and that's coming out. So this allows you to get an event when something snaps. It tells you exactly which item snapped, and you can do stuff to it. You can also, there's 2 different events. One of them is really eager. It tells you where it's about to jump to, and the other one tells you what it just landed on. And I have a blog post with phenomenal demos and a whole list at the end of 10 demos I didn't make that I'm hoping other people do. Really exciting stuff coming to Scroll, and we also have a carousel element we've been working on for over a year. The carousel element is going to be a few CSS properties. It will automatically add the buttons that go next and previous. They'll fade in, they'll disable, and you'll get pagination buttons along the bottom for every snap item that you have. Easy, accessible carousels.
Infinite scroll?
Infinite scroll is on our roadmap, and so is cyclical scroll. Which one did you mean?
I don't know yet. But we are looking forward to it. So if you, dear friends, have any questions for Adam on CSS or not, right, you can also find him at the fireplace. No fire, just the fireplace. Thank you so much for being here, Adam.
Of course. Thank you.